So, good morning. Welcome to the class on business statistics, where we are previous year questions related to the concepts of statistics. In this class, we are going to discuss very important concept called ANNOVA. In ANNOVA, we will discuss one-way classification. Mainly in Bangalore city, the questions what comes that will be of one-way classification only. Once or twice, I have seen problem where two-way classification problems used to be there, but generally, whenever we see the previous year question paper, we'll find always one-way classification only. Okay, and probably the perspective of ANNOVA, if you see, always you'll have a 10 or 15 marks question from this topic. Okay, so when we see ANNOVA, you can see this year 2019, the question, the paper which we discussed in the last class. So you see this around 10 marks question, I believe, came from this. So you can see this 10 marks question which we already discussed. And today class will discuss the question of February 2019. Okay, and this question again I believe will be of either of 10 or 15 marks. So every year 100% you will get a question of either 10 or 15 marks from this chapter and over. So with that you can understand how important is this topic. So in this class today we're going to discuss this problem. So if you see, read this problem. In this problem, it is mentioned that there's a manufacturer of perfume is there, which wish to launch a new perfume in 4 different fragments. Okay, test marketing in 5 different cities have given the following data. Is there any significant difference figure of the various fragrances? So again, I told you guys that whenever you get a problem on ANNOVA, solving question is not a big thing. One thing what you need to understand is that this classification, what you need to do, this should be done vertically or horizontally. You can understand horizontally the data is there based on cities. 5 cities are given. Okay, and vertically you can see the data which is given in the form of fragrances. 4 fragrances are given: lavender, rose, lily, and daisy. So what this data, the 80, 100, 95, 70, 82, 110, what are these values? These values are sales figure. Okay, so please understand what this data is all about. So that also you need to be little bit vigilant to understand what are those data. So those data are basically sales figure of different perfume, and how you need to perform this hypothesis. You have to perform this hypothesis where you need to compare that is there any significant difference in the sales figure of different fragrances. So here when we solve the problem, first thing what we'll do in exam, we'll write null hypothesis. The first thing what we'll do, we'll write null hypothesis. We'll write null cases. In null hypothesis, what you will write? You will write that there is there is no there is no significant there is no significant there is no significant differences there is no significant differences in the sales figure. There is no significant differences in the sales figure, okay, of various fragrances. Whatever fragrances is given of the various fragrances, whatever the fragrances you have given, their sales figure fragrances. So their sales figure, their sales figure. There's no differences there. That you write in null hypothesis. So I told you that ANNOVA is the part of test of hypothesis, and whenever we perform the test of hypothesis, it is very important for us to understand what should be the null hypothesis. So whenever you solve any problem of test of hypothesis, the question will end with a question mark. So that whatever is given the question mark, you have to assume that is equal. So here in null hypothesis, I'll write there is no significant difference in the sales figure of all the fragrances what is given. So what this means? This means that your mu1 is equal to mu2 equal to mu3 is equal to mu4. Okay, what is mu1? What is mu2? So you have to explain what is mu1. So mu1 is the average sales due to the fragrance fragrance spelling can be wrong. Fragrance lavender. Okay, that is my mu1. Okay, what is my mu2? Mu2 is the average fragrance due average sales due to the rose. Okay, what is my mu3? My mu3 is average sales due to the fragrance lily. What is mu4? Mu4 is the average fragrance due to the average sales due to the fragrance daisy. So I hope you understand. So like this, you'll write mu1, mu2, mu3, mu4. Okay, everyone. So all this will be given to you at the end of the class. Handwritten notes, whatever I'm doing, will be given to you. So if you can write this, well and good. If you don't write, also no problem. Don't get panic and just focus on what I'm doing, and I'll give you the handwritten notes of this. So I think for I make sure that you should not face any problem. So null hypothesis means there is no significant difference in the sales figure of different fragrances because what they've given, the different fragrances, like suppose there's a marketing, maybe there's a perfume manufacturing companies there, they came up with different fragrances. They want to know like which fragrance has a more demand in the market. Okay, so whichever fragrance will have more demand, definitely they'll produce that fragrance more as compared to other fragrances. And you have 5 cities given. Okay, so these are the 5 cities, and so what they did some test marketing of these 4 fragrances in these 5 cities, and now they want to understand that is the demand which is being created by these 4 fragrances, is they are same or maybe they are different. So if they're different, then they'll figure out which fragrance is creating the maximum demand so that they'll produce that more. If they're same means then it's well and good. They can equally produce all the 4 fragrances or they can produce any one or two of them of these 4 fragrances because they have an ideal demand in the market. Okay, so the people are not choosy about any particular fragrance. So I hope you understand it. So that is what is given. You need to understand the values, what is given the metrics, what that value is all about. So those 80, 100, 95, what you are seeing, they are basically the sales figure, maybe in thousands or crores or some figures. So that is what is being given here. So this is your null hypothesis. Now in alternative hypothesis, what I'll do in alternative hypothesis, I'll write then alternative hypothesis. I'll write my alternative hypothesis. Then I'll write alternative hypothesis. In alternative hypothesis, what I'll do? In alternative hypothesis, I'll write that at least two, at least. Okay, so I'll write that uh, at least two of the fragrance. Fragrance. You can use your own English word, so no need to follow my English. So at least two of the fragrance average at least two of the fragments average sales, okay, are different. So at least two of the average sales are different. Okay, I hope you understanding. So this you'll write in alternative hypothesis. So in null hypothesis, you said mu1, mu2, mu1, mu2, mu3, mu4 are equal. In alternative hypothesis, you'll say no, they may be, they may be, can be, they may be not equal, or anything can happen. It can be mu1 is not equal to mu2. This can also happen. It can be mu1 is not equal to mu3. It can be mu1 is not equal to mu4. Okay, any possibility can be there. It can be mu2 not equal to mu3. Okay, it can be mu2 not equal to mu4. Okay, it can be mu1 is not equal to mu2 is not equal to mu3. I hope you're understanding. So there are a lot of possibilities are there. So 4C2 plus 4C3 plus 4C4. So I can say how many possibilities? So 11 possibilities are there. So you can understand mu1 not equal to mu2 not equal to mu3, mu1 not equal to mu2 equal to mu4. So any possibilities can happen. So all these comes under alternative hypothesis. All this you'll analyze under alternative hypothesis. So these anything can happen. I'm not gonna simply first time I'm writing all this. Otherwise, these are not so relevant for to analyze them. Okay, so there's no need to write them and all. Simply I'm writing. So any possibilities can happen. So around 4C2, those who understand combination, the total number possibility can will be mute 4C2 plus 4C3 plus 4C4. So you can understand that. So two, then three, four, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, and then 2, 3, 4. Okay, then what? 1, 2, then 3, 4. You need to understand what all possibilities are there. And you can analyze them. Okay, mu1 not equal to mu2, mu2, mu3, mu possibilities will be there. So total 11 possibilities will be there. So anything can happen in alternative hypothesis. Anything can happen in alternative hypothesis. So I don't know alternative hypothesis what is happening. We have no idea. In null hypothesis, we believe that there is no significant difference in the sales figure of various fragrances. Means the sales figure what is obtained by lavender is maybe equal to the average sales figure obtained by lily, and it is maybe equal to the average sales figure obtained by daisy. It may be equal to average sales figure obtained by rose, but in alternative hypothesis we say that they may or may not be equal. Okay, so till now anyone any doubt, any question, anyone any question you want to ask? Any clear, right? Everyone is understanding, right? So in test of hypothesis, whenever we are solving the problem on test of hypothesis, there's a statement which is being passed. There's a statement which is passed where it is very important that imagine if you're sitting in the top management of this fragrance company. If imagine if you're sitting with the top management of a fragrance company. So if you are sitting at the top management of the fragrance company, then it becomes very important for the company to understand what is happening in the market. They may be planning to launch a new perfume or different fragrances. They want to know fragrance is more effective in the market. So, or for all that reason, they are doing this test uh, based upon the result of the sales figure what they got, and they really are very interested to find out what kind of action they can take. So whenever we talk about null hypothesis, whenever we are doing test of hypothesis, the objective is to come up with a conclusion, and that conclusion need to be based on certain data. So these data are given to us based on this data we need to perform a test. Okay, and this particular kind of test what we are doing is called ANNOVA. ANNOVA means analysis of variances. So we'll try to find the variance within the sample and between the sample. We actually look into two here. One factor is between sample variance, and another factor we'll see is within sample variance. We'll find out these two factors. Okay, we'll find out these two factors, and once we find out these two factors, we analyze these two factors based on certain level of significance. Here in the problem, level of significance is not given. In case if the level of significance is not given, we'll take the level of significance as 5%. Okay, ANNOVA table is already forwarded to you in the group. You can use that table, and we'll do this test at some level of significance. Okay, so normally if nothing's given, we'll take as a 5%, and we'll find the degree of freedom. Okay, so here the degree of freedom of numerator, the formula for that is k minus 1. K is the number of groups. You can see we are doing analysis based on fragrances. So there are 4 types of fragrances are there. So the number of groups will be 4. K will be 4. Okay. So based on this, we'll do the test. We'll find the degree of freedom of numerator. We'll find the degree of freedom of denominator. And at 5% level of significance, we'll perform this test. And this is what we are doing. That is we called as ANNOVA. Any doubt, anyone? Uh, uh, Basit has asked the question that in alternative hypothesis, they can also be equal. In alternative hypothesis, we'll say that that they are not equal. Null hypothesis, we are saying, Basit, that they okay. And in alternative hypothesis, alternative means what else is left. Null hypothesis, we made them equal. So in alternative hypothesis, what else can happen? So it can be they may be equal, they may not be equal. So if mu1 mu2 is equal, Basit, if mu1 mu2 is equal, so automatically here I'm saying mu3 is equal to mu4. No, I hope you are. If I'm saying mu1 is not equal to mu3 here, so it can be here mu2 is equal to mu1. It can be they are equal to mu4. Anything else? I hope you're understanding. So alternative hypothesis means what else can happen? What else possibility is there? I hope you're understanding. So I'm not saying alternative hypothesis they are not equal. Alternative hypothesis means in null hypothesis we made everything equal. In alternative hypothesis we see what else can happen. So so here I'm writing. Yeah. So Abhishek is telling 2 may be equal, then 2 may not be equal. So here I am saying mu2 is not equal to mu3. So it can be mu1. Here mu1 is not equal to mu2. So it then what else can happen? Mu1 is equal to mu3 is equal to mu4. All that. Anything else can happen. That is alternative. I hope you are understanding. Alternative, anything can happen. So like two things can happen. Either you are attending class or you are not attending class. If you are attending class, then I can understand that you are listening to me right now. If you are not attending class, then you can do anything of the world. So you can be here, you can be there, you would be watching movie, you do roaming somewhere. Any possibilities can happen. So that I cannot write it down. So that is infinite. That cannot be analyzed. So we are just simply wrote that unequal possibilities. Any doubt, anyone? Okay, so then going further, this data is given to us. Okay, so this data is given to us, everyone. So this to us. So this calculation I will do in Excel. So to save my time, I'll do this calculation in Excel. So this data is given to us. So I'll find the sum. So I'll find the sum. So you can find the sum. So this is the sum. So this is rows. So I have to do sum. Then I'll find the square. I hope you remember. So I will do the sum. I hope everyone knows how to do the sum. Okay. So we are doing this problem. Vertically we are doing this problem. So we have to do this problem based on fragrances. So I'll found the sum of this. I hope you remember. Then I have to find the square of the sum. So I'll find the square of the sum. Clear? Anyone? Any doubt? So in test of hypothesis, what I told you, first we'll find the sum. So you can understand here your R1 is 410, your R2 is 520, your R3 row 3 sum is 470, and your R4 sum is 380. So the sum of the data, so sum of your data is how much? How much is your sum of data? So the sum of data is actually that is 1780. Okay, everyone. Then that is your grand total. Then if I here find R1 square, that is 168100. R2 square. Why, sir? Why you are writing R1, R2? Because row wise. I hope you understand. Sorry, better would be this is column wise. So you can ignore R1, R2, C1, C2. You could ignore the symbol. This should be C1 wise anyway. So just they are just simply a symbol. So R3 square, that is 220900, and R4 square, that is 14440. So what is the sum of the square? You can do the square. So what is the sum of the square? Please guys, don't take photo and all. I'll give you all these notes. So this is the your square sum. Any doubt, anyone? Clear, everyone? Anyone, any doubt? I'll give you all this at the end of the class. So your grand total, so your grand total is 1780. Okay, and the total number of data is how much is the total number of data? You can find the total number of data. These many datas are there. 20 datas are there. So you can find the correction factor. Correction factor. So what is your correction factor? You can find the correction factor. I told you the formula of correction factor. What is the formula of the correction factor? So the formula for the correction factor is this G. Whatever the grand total you get, the formula of correction factor is G square by N, means 1780 square divided by 20. That you have to do. So what is 1780 square divided by 1 by 20? If you do, you'll get 158420. You can do this. That is your correction factor. Clear? Any doubt, anyone? So you will find the correction factor. Correction factor is 158420. Anyone, any doubt? You will get this Excel sheet at the end of the class. So please don't use your camera memory for taking photos. Okay, so once you find the correction factor, then I'll find the calculation of raw sum of square. Calculation of raw sum of square. I'll find the calculation of raw sum of square. So when we find calculation of raw sum of square, what we'll do in calculation of raw sum of square, we'll take the square value. Okay, this all these values what we got now, these values we'll take the square of them. Okay, so we'll take the square of them. We'll take the square of them. Take the square of them. That is your raw sum square. I hope you could remember. Last class we did this. These values, whatever these values are given, you simply take the square of them. So the sum of this sum is your the sum of this is basically your raw sum of square 161936. Clear? Any doubt? Anyone? Anyone? Any doubt? So raw sum of square is nothing but these values. No, this value what you got in your table, this whatever you got in the table, this value whatever is given in the question paper, you'll find the what you'll do. You'll find the square of these values like 80 square plus 100 square plus this square. 80 square is 6400. 100 square is 10,000. Okay, 95 square is 9025. Okay, 70 square is 4900. 75 square is 5625. Okay, 82 square is what? What is 82 square? 82 square is 4. 8 2s are 16. 16 2s are 32. 3 carry 6724. So 82 square is 6724. 100 square 105 square 11025. Like this. 88 square 7744. So all these values we will find the square of these values and then we'll do the sum of that. That is basically the raw sum of square. Is this clear? 75 square 5625, all these values 90 square 8100, 80 square 6400, 65 square 4225, all these values, the values what we got, we'll do the square of them and then we'll add them. Okay, so this is I just did directly. So you, okay, so in exam you have to do manually using calculator. So I don't want to waste time. So that's why I did it directly. I hope you people understood. Clear? Can I go ahead? So we found the raw sum of square. Once we find the raw sum of square, once we find the raw sum of square, once we find the raw sum of square, then we'll find the total sum of square. Then we'll find the total sum of square. Then we'll find the total sum of square. What is total sum of square? Total sum of square is basically raw sum of square, raw sum of square minus correction factor. That is your total sum of square. So what is raw sum of square? Raw sum of square is this. This is your raw sum of square minus correction factor. What is your correction factor, guys? This is your correction factor. So you subtract, you will get raw sum of square. You will get total sum of square. Clear? So your total sum of square is the raw sum of square minus correction factor, which we have discussed in the last class also, and I believe you formula also. So the total sum is first we will find the raw sum of square. Raw sum of square is nothing but the values are there. We'll take the square of the values. Okay, and the sum of that square of the values is the raw sum of square, and that when we subtract from the correction factor, we call this as the total sum of square. Clear, everyone? Anyone any doubt? Can I go ahead? Anyone any doubt? Any question? Okay, fine. So I hope you understood this. Now, once we find this, Then what we'll do, we'll find the, then we'll find the between column. Then we'll find the, once we are done with this, we'll find what? We'll find between sample sum of square. So we'll find calculation of between sample sum of square. So we'll find this calculation of between sample sum of square. So what is the formula for between sample sum of square? So the formula for your between sample sum of square, the formula for this is sum of, the formula for this is R1 square by N1 plus R2 square by N2 plus 1, R1 square by N1 plus R2 square by N2 plus R3 square by N3 plus R4 square by N4 minus correction. This is your formula for between sample sum of square. So this is your formula. So here already I found this R1, R2, R3, R4 square. Already I found this. Okay, so I don't have to manually do this. Okay, and n is all the cases. Your n is how much? You 1, 3, 4, 5. In every case, your n is 5. I hope you're understanding. So your n1, n1, n2, n3, n4, n5. So you're not only n4 is there. That is equal to 5 in all the cases, right? So that is in all the cases, and so you can write this. You can directly write down this formula. You can write down this formula as R1 square plus R2 square plus R3 square plus R4 square divided by 5 minus correction factor, because your N1, N2, N3, N4 all are equal to 5. So, and this sum already I have found. This sum already I found here. So, what is that value? 803, 800. 803, 800. So, this is 803, 800 divided by 5 minus, what is your correction factor? Your correction factor is 158420. 158420. 158420. Solve this. How much you'll get this? So you can solve this. So you'll get this as 160760 minus 158420. So between sample sum of square you'll get is 2340. Any doubt anywhere? This is 160760 minus 158420. So we get 2340. So this you got as between sample sum of square, that is 2340. So once we get between sample sum of square, then what we'll do? We, once we found out between sample sum of square, then the next thing what we'll do, once we find the between sample sum of square, the next thing what we'll do, we'll find within sample sum of square. The next thing we'll find is the within sample sum of square. First we'll find between sample sum of square, then we'll find within sample sum of square. The other name of within sample sum of square is error. The other name of within sample sum of square is error. Okay. And the other name of between sample sum of square is treatment. In statistics book, I saw it was written as a treatment. Okay. So within sample sum of square, there's a as such there is no formula for that, so you can do it directly. Whenever we talk of within sample sum of square, so within sample sum of square is nothing but it is total sum of square minus between sample sum of square between sample sum of square between sample sum of square. This is the formula of within sample sum of square within sample sum of square. This is the formula of within sample sum of square. The total sum of square what we get if you subtract the between sample sum of square, you will get within sample sum of square. So the total sum of square you got was 3516. Okay, and between sample sum of square you got is 2340. So within sample sum of square will be what? So within sample sum of square will be what? That will be 3516 minus 2340, and that will be equal to 1176. This is within sample sum of square. So 3516 minus 2340, you get 1176. This is your value for within sample sum of square. So you found the between column between sample sum of square, and between sample sum of square plus within sample sum of square, the total sum is total total sum of square. The total sum of square, the total sum of square is equal to between sample sum of square plus within sample sum of square. Clear everyone? Anyone, any doubt? Same steps we are simply continuing. It's not at all difficult. So first thing what we do, or the table, whatever the table is given to us, whatever the table is given to us, there will be table given, okay, and they will mention the problem how you need to perform the test. So whatever the table is given, because we have to perform the test vertically, we will take the sum of the each column, and then we'll do the square of each column. Then first thing what we'll do, we'll find the first thing what we'll do, first thing we'll find the grand total. Grand total is total sum of data. That is simple. That is grand total. Once we find the total sum of data, which we called as the grand total, that square of that value will divide by the total number of data that we called as a correction factor. Once we are done with that, then we'll find what? Then we'll find raw sum of square. What is raw sum of square? Individual value. We'll take the square of the individual value, okay, and total sum of that is your raw sum of square, okay. So then after raw sum of square, we'll find total sum of square. Total sum of square is nothing but the raw sum of square value what you got, you subtract the correction factor from that value. So correction factor, if you subtract from raw sum of square, you will get total sum of square. This total sum of square is basically the sum of two values between sample sum of square plus within sample sum of square. So between sample sum of square, for that you use the formula where the total square values what you got for each column, okay, that when you divide by the total each column data, like how much data is there in each column, and then if you do after dividing, if you subtract from the correction factor, that you will get is called as between sample sum of square. Once you get the between sample sum of square, once you get that value, then you simply subtract that value from the total sum of square, and that will give you within sample sum of square. Clear everyone? Can I go ahead? So once we are done with this, then we'll find the ANNOVA table. Then we'll find, then we'll create ANNOVA table. Once we are done with this, then we'll create ANNOVA. Then we'll create ANNOVA table. So in this ANNOVA table, will make different columns. We'll make this ANNOVA table. So in ANNOVA table, we'll make different columns like source of deviation. Make this column source of deviation. Then degree of freedom and degree of freedom. Then sum of square. After that, mean sum of square. After that, variance ratio. So in this is between sample sum of square. Okay, so between sample sum of square, what is degree of freedom for this? So the degree of freedom, what is K here? K means the total number of column. What is your K? K is 4. 4 columns are there, no? Lavender, lily, rose and daisy. So that 4 column, that is your K. So that is your K. So degree of freedom for between sample sum square, that will be K minus 1. So that is equal to 4 minus 1, that is equal to 3. Clear? Then sum of square for between sample sum of square value, how much you got? You got was 2340. 2340, you can see here. Between column sum of 2340, you can see this. 2340. I hope you are writing down all values. This is 2340. And mean sum of square will be what? That will be 2, that will be 2340 divided by 3. So 2340 divided by 3, you'll get is 780. Okay. And then after this, I'll write within sample sum of square. After this, I'll write within sample sum of square. What is with degree of freedom formula for within sample sum of square? That will be total number of data minus 3. Okay, so total number of data, you have 20 data and k is 4. So this is equal to 60. Okay, and sum of square within sample sum of square, you got is 1176. You got is 1176. What is mean sum of square? That is 1176 divided by 60. Okay, that 1176 divided by 60 and you get is 73.5. You can see the total. Total is always n minus 1. N is 20, 20 minus 1, that will be 3. You can see 16 plus 3 is also 19. Sum of square, this total sum of square, you can see this. That was 3516. I hope you understand. Clear, everyone? Anyone, any doubt? Anyone, any doubt? What is your variance ratio? Variance ratio is nothing but it is this mean sum of square. So the mean sum of square what you got for column. Okay, that what you get for column mean sum square. So that is nothing but that is mean. This formula is mean sum square, mean sum square of this treatment, treatment, this treatment. This you'll divide by the, this you'll divide by the mean square of error. This is, that is what is your variance ratio. This is what your variance ratio are. This is your variance ratio. So better let me write it down. This is basically the, so mean sum square divide by mean sum square within sum of, this is variance ratio is nothing but this is the value what you get, mean square of between sample sum square, that you will divide by the, that you will, that you will divide by this value. So you will get this here as 10.61224. 780, whatever value you get, this 780 divide by the 73. Total, total, total is this only. That was already we got, no, total sum square. That was raw sum square. This raw sum square minus correction factor. We, if you do the sum of between sample sum square and within sample sum square, you will get the, when you do the sum of within sample sum square plus between sample sum square, you will get the total sum square only. So simply we did the sum here. This is what your variance ratio. Clear everyone? Here what we do, once we find a variance ratio, once we find the variance ratio, so the mean sum of square what you got because of between sample sum of square, that you divide by the mean sum of square what you got because of within sample sum of square, the value what you get, that we call as variance ratio. This value what you get, we compare this value with the threshold, we'll compare this value with the threshold, threshold f value, threshold f value. How to find the threshold f value? So we look into the, we look into the f distribution table. This is your F distribution table. This is your F distribution table. So we'll see at whenever we are performing the test of hypothesis at what level of significance we need to do. If nothing is given in the problem, so we'll consider this as 5% level of significance. Okay, so at 5% a level of significance at 5% level of significance at 5% level of significance at 5% level of significance where our my degree of freedom of numerator, what is my degree of freedom of numerator, my degree of freedom of numerator, how much is my degree of freedom of numerator, that is k minus 1. The formula for that is k minus 1. K was 4, so degree of freedom of numerator is 3. Okay, and then I'll find the degree of freedom of denominator. Degree of freedom of denominator, degree of freedom of denominator is total data minus k. Was 20, 20 minus 4 is 16. So at degree of freedom of numerator of 3 value and denominator of 16 value at 5% level of significance, I'll find the threshold value. So what is your threshold F value? So threshold F value, that is 316. So at 5%, I'll see 316. So you can see horizontal, what you see, that is numerator. I can't write here, guys. So horizontally, what you see, that is called numerator, and vertically, what you see, we call that a denominator. So 316. So 316, that is 316, 3.3289. You can see this 3.3. So you can see this 3.2389. 3.2389. See that. So you what value you take? So so this numerator you will take 3, numerator you will take that as 3, and denominator you will take as 16. So the value is 3.2389. So the threshold value is 3.2389. So this is the threshold value. So the threshold value is 3.2389, while the calculated F value, what you got, your calculated F value, your calculated F value, how much you got, the calculated F value you got is 10.61. So you get the calculated F value is 10.61, and you can see this, that since you can see here that since you can see that since the calculated since the calculated f value since the calculated f value is more than since the calculated f value is more than the you can see the calculated f value is you can see the calculated f value is 10.61, and the threshold f value is 3.2389. You'll accept the null hypothesis only when will accept the null hypothesis only when the calculated value than the threshold value. Here you calculated f value is more than the threshold value. So since the calculated f value is more than the threshold f value, so it means it means what? It means we do not get we do not we do not get substantial evidence to 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 accept the null hypothesis. We do not get substantial evidence to accept the null hypothesis. What this mean? This mean that we are rejecting the null hypothesis. We are rejecting the null hypothesis. We we are rejecting the null hypothesis. So if you are rejecting the null hypothesis means what? It means that at least, it means what? It means at least, at least what this means? This means at least the two of the two of the average sales. It means at least two of the average sales by made by different fragrances. It means at least two of the average sales made by different fragrances may not be equal. That means it may not be, they are not equal. If it means, if you are rejecting the null hypothesis means, we are rejecting the null hypothesis means we are opening the umbrella of infinite, as that anything can happen. So anything can happen. This is what, so this is your alternative hypothesis. So I'm rejecting the null hypothesis means I'm creating an infinite possibilities of opening a scenario of accepting the alternative hypothesis. Accepting the alternative hypothesis means anything can happen. Okay, everyone. Now anything can happen. Now they are not equal. Means mu1 is not equal to mu2 is not equal to mu4. So if they are not equal, so if they are not equal, so if they are not equal, so now we need to analyze. So now we will analyze, will analyze, will analyze that that where it went, why they are not equal. So we'll analyze, analyze what? We'll analyze the possibility. We'll analyze the possibility that why the mu1 is not equal to mu2 is not equal to mu3 is not equal to mu3 is not equal to mu4. We are analyzing this. So what we do, we will find the will find out what went wrong. Okay, so that calculation is called calculation of critical differences. Now we'll find critical differences. We'll find critical differences. So what went wrong? That analysis part we need to do, because I hope you're understanding. You are rejecting the null hypothesis because you are rejecting the null hypothesis here, because we are rejecting the null hypothesis. So we need to tell why we are rejecting the null hypothesis. So what is the reason for rejecting the null hypothesis? So that part we need to tell. So why we are rejecting the null hypothesis? Because we got the substantial evidence that we need to disprove this null hypothesis. Means we have to accept the alternative hypothesis. Where in alternative hypothesis we say that they may not be equal. So which part is not equal? So that calculation is called least critical difference. That calculation we called as a least critical difference calculation. Okay, so in whenever we find the least difference calculation, what we do, so what we do in this least critical difference calculation, so we'll find this, or in some books they write as critical difference, or in some book we write as a least critical difference. The formula for that is n minus k, t n minus k into alpha by 2. Alpha is the level of significance, okay, into into standard error, what you get, into standard error what you get because of any two column. Here the columns what you analyze vertically, that columns what you analyze vertically. So any two columns, because they are not equal, so because they are not equal, that created the inequality proportionality here. So that is what we are trying to find here. Okay, everyone. So T, I hope you remember, we have T table, we have Z table. So this is what we do here in T table. We'll take the help of T table. So the critical difference. So the critical difference here T. What is N? N is 20. K is 4. What is alpha? Alpha is your level of significance. That is 0.5. Na 5%. 5% means 0.05, not 5. 0.05. So this is 0.05 by 2. And standard error, what is the formula we do for standard error? We use this mean sum of square due to due to error, okay, into 2 by n, into 2 by n. This is what we use the formula. N is the data in each column or row in the k. Okay, so this is the critical difference. This this is T. So your critical difference, this is your T. So this is T16 for this is what 0.025, correct? And what is your mean sum square due to error? We'll see this mean sum square due to error. So this is mean sum square due to error. This is error, no? Within sample sum square. The other name of within sample sum square is error only. I told you in past. So that what value you got means this is the value 73.5. So 73.5. This is 73.5 into 2 divided by n. N is 5. What is n? N, what is n here? Your n, n means this, each row or column, how many data are there? That is your n. Clear? You can see five data are there. That is your n. So what you do, now I need to use T table. So let me Google if I get T table, T distribution table. So in exam you get the T table. So you simply open the T table or you ask for the examiner the T table. T distribution table. Yeah. So what value I want? This is one tail only we'll see. Degree of freedom is how much? Degree of freedom you will take is 16 and level of significance is 0.025. So 16 at 0.025. So you can see this 16 is third column. 16 is 2.12. Okay, anyone? This value you can see that is 2.12. So either in one tailed you see level of significance as 0.025, or if you're using two tailed table then you see for 0.05. It means the same thing. So degree of freedom will take a 16. So degree of freedom 16, how you get? That is n minus k. So that is 2.12. Can you see this, everyone? Anyone, any doubt? So this is 2 point. So your critical difference. So your critical difference, your critical difference is 2.12, and this value if you solve this value you'll get is 5.422. Okay, let me just confirm this value. This is square root of, this is square root of 73.5 into 2 divided by 5. 5.422. Okay, so if you solve this, you'll get this as 11.49. 11.4. Any doubt, anyone? So what actually we are trying to do now, understand that this critical difference and all, why when we use this critical difference and all when we are rejecting the null hypothesis. The last problem when we did in class, there we were accepting the null hypothesis. I hope you remember the problem of zoologist. So the zoologist, what we did in class, last class, there we accepted the null hypothesis. If you're accepting the null hypothesis, then there's no problem. Problem happens whenever you reject hypothesis. So when we are rejecting the null hypothesis, we need to tell the reason that why we are rejecting the null hypothesis. So that analysis, what we do, that analysis is called the analysis of critical difference. Any doubt, anyone? So when we do that analysis, when when we do that when we do that analysis here, in that analysis we use this formula. So this is the formula what we follow. This formula we use by this formula. This is the formula of critical differences. This is your formula. So we use T table here. So actually, if you understand, ANNOVA is the expansion of T table only, T distribution table. So we'll the T of n minus k. So the degree of freedom in the T distribution table will take as n minus k for what value? So that is alpha by 2. What is your alpha? Alpha is your level of significance, and this we multiply the with the standard error of the errors. So the standard error what we get, so that we'll find of the within sample sum of square. So that formula we use here. Okay, this is the formula what we use here, and then that will give us this value. That will give us this value. If you do this calculation, that will give us this value. So this is your critical difference. Clear, everyone? Anyone have any doubt? So once we get the critical difference value, once we get the critical difference value, once we get the critical difference value, so once we get the critical difference value, once we get that, so then what we do, once we get that, then we'll do this analysis to find out which column is actually creating the problem. Okay, so assessment, we'll do this is called assessment of between sample sum of square, assessment of between sample sum of square. Okay, assessment of between sample sum of square. Okay, so we are trying to do that assessment to determine to determine significant significant class, okay, affecting the rest of hypothesis. So we do this calculation. Okay, so we do this calculation. So we are doing this calculation assessment. Answer. So that is what we are trying to do now. So we'll focus on that perspective. Okay, because see, this critical difference, different books use different terminology. Least critical difference or critical difference. That will do only when we reject the null hypothesis. If we are accepting the null hypothesis, last class, if you remember, we did the problem of geologists. There we have not done all this because there we are accepting the null hypothesis. I hope I'm making myself very clear that this calculation or this assessment of least critical difference will do only when we are rejecting the null hypothesis. So here I'll give this GSS. Then here mean sales, this is a mean sales and differences, then comparison, comparison of the critical difference. Critical difference. Let me just increase the font size. So this first I lavender. Lavender was the one group. What was the mean sales of lavender? Lavender. What was the mean sales of lavender? So lavender was one group. What was the mean sales of lavender? So you can see this. You can see your table. So first value I'm just seeing for you this 410. You can see lavender 410. So you can see lavender it was 410. Now I'll find the mean sales. Lavender. First thing was lavender. What is the mean sale? The mean sale for this is 410. Total 5 values are given. 410 divided by 5, it will be 82. Then next one was rose. Next one was rose. Then you have lily. And then you have these. Then you have these. So rows, the sum of rows was 520. You can check from the table. 520. 520 is equal to 104. This is 104. This is 470 divided by 5. This is equal to 94. Okay. This is equal to 380. Daisy, the total sum was 380. 380 divided by 5. Then it is equal to 76. You can see this. Now, what is differences? Now, this is what we have to worry about here. So, what is differences here? Like what we do in difference, what we do in differences. Difference means here that you find this difference. Okay, this. So, so this difference is what I hope you're understanding. This is x1. I can write this is x2. This is x3. This I can write as x4. So what is the difference? Just to find the x1 minus x2. Okay, so this is 82 minus 104. So 82 minus 104 is 20. Find this value. Okay, so find this value and this value what you got, you compare this value with your critical difference value. How much is your critical difference value? 11.495. You compare this with 11.495. This is 11.495. 11.495. This is 11.495. 11.495. 11.495. The significant amount. So I compare this. So if you see this, if you see this 22 is more than no, 22, you can see this 22 is more than 11.495, means they are significant. So if they are less, then they are not significant. So the critical difference means the maximum the difference can arise, standard error. So we did the adjustment of that. So we find these differences. So x1 minus x2 bar. So this mean value. Similarly, I'll find similarly. So similarly, I'll find x1 bar minus x3 bar. So what is x1 bar minus x3 bar? Usually you see, so this is x1 bar. What is x1? X1 is 82. No? 82 minus 94. How much you get? 12. So is 12 is more than 11.495? Yes. Yes, so they are significant. Then here x1, x2 I did, then x1, x3 I did. Similarly, I can do x1 and x4. X1 is 82 and x4 is 76. 82 minus 76 is what? 76 is what? 6. Yeah, 6 is less than no? 11.495. Not significant. Similarly, I did x1, x2, x1, x3, x1, x. Then what else I can do? I can do what else I can do? After that, I can do 6. I can do total. Then x2, x3, I can do. So x2, x3. What is x2? X2 is what? X2 is what? X2 is 104. Rows 104 minus 94. You get 10. So you get 10. It means 10 is less than 10 is less than 11.495. They are not significant. They are not significant. So like this, we have to analyze all the conditions. So we have to analyze all the conditions. So I did then x2 minus x4 I'll do. x2 minus x4 I'll do. This what is x2? X2 is 104, x4 is 76. 104 minus 76. 104 minus 76 is 28. 28 is more than 11.495. Like this, I have to analyze all. Like this, I have to analyze all. So you have to do this. So how much I did? I total 4 C2 6 will be there. So x1 bar minus x2 bar, x1 bar minus x3 bar, x1 bar minus x4 bar, x2 bar, x3 bar, x2 bar, x4 bar, and then x3, x4, and then last x3, x4, and then x3 bar minus x4. What is x3 bar? X3 bar is 94. 94 minus 76. How much is it? 18. 18 is more than 11.495. Yes. Yeah. So they are significant. Like this, we have to find. Like this, we have to find for each column. So they are significant or not significant. Okay, so for like I hope you are understanding what we are doing. So we are actually trying to find they are significant or they are not significant. So four columns, the calculation what we need to do. This calculation what we need to do. We need to consider four factors. The four columns we consider one was lavender, another one was rose, another one was BB, another one was daisy. So these four columns were given to us. Okay, these four columns were given to us, and the average sales made by these columns, which are basically pregnancies for different cities, were given to us, and we need to find, we need to do a test where we need to find that, yeah, that the average sales what is made by these pregnancies is their same or not. So with the calculation we found that they are not same. The average sales made by them, they are not same. So because they are not same, because we are rejecting the null hypothesis, means we are accepting the alternative hypothesis, and because we are accepting the alternative hypothesis, then what? Then we need to find out the reason why the difference came. So here, I'll while finding the alternative hypothesis, we are not considering three factors or four factor analysis. So we are not doing three factors or four factor analysis. Probably textbook and all, they are not considering three factors or four factor analysis. They're only considering the two factor analysis. So if you consider two factor analysis, what can happen, that yeah, is the mu one and mu two difference, and mu one and mu three difference, or is the mu one and mu four difference, or mu2 and mu3 difference, or mu2 or mu4 difference. Okay, so is there significant or not? So that is what we are trying to find. So we are trying to find that only. So we are considering two factor mu one two 1 3 1 4, then 2 3 2 4, and then 3 4. So we are considering these six factors. So the average sales, what is made by them, we are doing two factor analysis. So in this critical difference calculation, we are doing the two factor analysis, and in that what we found the critical difference value. So we found the critical difference value. So the critical threshold, this was your threshold critical difference value. That for that we use the formula Tn minus k. So this is your degree of freedom, what you need to take, and for at what level of significance. So at this alpha by 2, whatever is alpha by 2, one tailed, we are doing one tailed t test. That table you will get, in that the value what you get, in that the value get, this you multiply with the, this value you'll find with the mean sum of square due to error. Okay, so due to error, this value into 2 by n. So this value what we get, that we called as the threshold critical value, and that we got around 11.95 something we got. So this value what we get, 11.495, 495, this value what we got, this value now we are comparing under different criteria. So we are finding the differences. Like, so if we are assuming they are equal, no, if we are assuming, so see, null hypothesis, what we did in null hypothesis, we believe they are equal, no. In null hypothesis, I believe they are equal, no. In null hypothesis, I believe they are equal. So in null hypothesis, I believe they are equal. So if they are equal, if they are equal, then their difference should be zero. I hope you're understanding. If they're equal, then their difference should be zero, no? So, but they are not equal. We know that because we have rejected the null hypothesis. So we know their difference are not equal. We know their differences are not equal. So if their differences are not equal because we have rejected the null hypothesis, now we know their differences are not equal because we know the differences are not equal. So we need to understand, so is this difference what you got, is this a critical difference or not? Is this difference you need to worry about that or not? Is this something you need to be worried about? Is the differences what you got, these differences what you get, these differences what you get, is these differences should you should be critical about? Like, is this the differences, they are not equal, we know because we rejected the null hypothesis, so we know that they are not equal. Now we need to analyze that is they are impacting anything or not. So for that, what we did, we created this table or this difference table. What you see, so we created this table. We find the difference value. We found the difference value. We found the difference value. So the individual mu one minus mu two difference, mu one minus mu three difference, mu one minus mu four difference. We found the difference value. Okay, we found the difference value. So like four differences will get mu one, mu two, mu one, mu three, mu one, mu four, mu two, mu three, mu two, mu four, mu three, mu four. This difference, what we get, you compare this difference with the critical difference value. This critical difference value, what you got as 11.495. Okay, so if this difference is more than the critical difference value, then they are significant. If they are not more than, then they are not significant. So I hope and you understood this. So, so they are significant or they're not significant. That depends on this. So they are significant or they are not significant. That depends on this. So you can see this is significant. So you can see this. They are significant. You can see this. So you can see this significant. Yeah. So you can see this. So they are significant. So, so we find their values and we find which are significant, which are not significant. So once we find out which are significant, which are not significant, once we find out which are significant, which are not significant, so here if you understand that the differences, the differences, since the differences of of x1 minus x2, okay, that is lavender and rose, and then x1 minus x3 lavender and lily, okay, and then x2 minus x4, x2 minus x4 means rose and daisy, x2 minus x2 minus so rose and daisy, and then x3 minus x4. x3 minus x4 means x3 minus x4 means what? Louis and Daisy is significant. Is significant. Why they're significant, guys? Because the difference value what you got is more than the critical difference value. Critical difference value is 11.495. So we can conclude that. So we can conclude. We can conclude that the average sale made by different fragrances in different cities, average fragrances in different cities, different in different cities are not equal because of difference in average sales. You can see what all are there. So lavender and rose, lavender and rose, lavender, lavender and rose, lavender and lily, lavender and rose, lavender and lily. Then what? Uh, then rose and daisy, rose and daisy, rose and daisy. Then lily and daisy. This much we have to do. Only this much is there. If you do this much, means you are done. calculation. Anyone, any doubt? So, so this much only, this much is there for you, and you will get 15 minutes. So let me take the attendance.